Welcome to Beyond the Press Release, a production of Gorecom, in which we take the time to speak with small cap executives right after they put out important news. And today's news was big. With us to talk about is Sean Dollinger, founder, PlantX Life, trades on the CSE under the stock symbol VEGA, VEGA. For our friends in the US, PLTXF, and for our friends in Europe on Frankfurt under WNT1. For those of you new to the story, that's going to be a lot of you because the PlantX Life story keeps climbing. First of all, the industry, the paradigm shifting, parabolic growth of plant-based foods and a plant-based life is unstoppable. In fact, the plant-based food market alone is expected to grow to reach $75 billion by 2027. That's not a typo, $75 billion. PlantX has established itself as the one-stop shop for everything plant-based. That's the digital face of the plant-based community. Primarily e-commerce platform that's powered, an e-commerce plant-based platform that's all digital, that includes plant-based meal delivery, products, pet foods, restaurant locator, and even plants. And that's just some of it. They're really truly the face of the plant-based community. More than just lip service, just closed $11.5 million financing, already fully operating in Canada. Their US online operations came with a commitment for $25 million of PlantX products just in year one, plus a royalty fee on all sales. We're going to talk about their bricks and mortar launch over there, and as well as an $8 million acquisition of Bloombox in the UK. So they're hitting on all cylinders, and that's why they announced their application list on the Nasdaq. Sean, congratulations. Welcome back.
George, great seeing you. Happy New Year.
Happy New Year to you too. And it looks like you're in a better and more exotic location than most of us, but you're not on vacation, right? You're actually meeting with investors.
Absolutely. Never a day of vacation.
Hey, you announced that you're commencing the Nasdaq application process. Clearly, even though the company's doing so well, some might think, hey, is this a little bit early? But you're clearly seeing something in your growth that's almost going to intersect by the time you're ready to get to the Nasdaq. What are you seeing in terms of your growth that warrants, starting the process now?
Yeah, George. So, we always want to give people exposure to our stock all around the world, right? As Canadians, CSC listed stocks, TSXV listed stocks, those are easily accessible. But for Americans, it's not easy. And even OTCQB, like Robinhood, which I'm sure you've heard of, and all of these new types of platforms that are out, makes it very difficult. So we wanted to put an application in to be able to then go ahead and get the exposure that is needed in order for us to be able to allow whoever wants to invest into PlantX to have that exposure.
And the plant-based life is international now, right? So clearly the American market is important to you. Do you have an ETA and I know a lot of this is out of your hands because you gotta submit forms to the SEC, then you got to go through the Nasdaq. But for everyone at home, do you have a general ETA of when you might be ready to get this done?
Yeah, right now, George, no, it's always heads down over here. We obviously have announced it, and you know how I am as the founder of the company, Julia Frank as CEO. She loves communication with the shareholders and investors. That was the idea. We wanted to let investors and shareholders know that an application went in, and during each step of the way, as the lawyers permit us, we will go ahead and share information with the investors.
Okay, I'm glad you said that, and I want everyone to know at home because I've been through a couple of Nasdaq listings for clients of Agoracom that a lot of it is out of the hands of the company. So some of you, most of you I know are going to stay with the company. You love the long-term prospects. You want to be here for that $75 billion market. But for the some of you out there that might get ornery and want faster times, it's not up to the company. There's a whole machine behind it. But in the meantime, Sean, I've got to infer that for you and the board to make this decision, that the outlook for the business is doing great. So what I want to talk about is, I want to talk about the U.S., then Europe, and then Canada. Talk about how the U.S. operations are going, the digital operations, then how the flagship is coming along.
So, George, at the end of the day, we're an e-commerce company. But if you look at the largest technology companies out there, like Apple, Tesla, Microsoft, they've all started these education centers, right? When Apple started, they had to educate people on why their operating system was better than the Microsoft operating system. Believe it or not, a lot of people don't know what plant-based even means. So they they know that it's supposed to be good and they want to give it a try, but they don't know how. So that's the core to PlantX, is to live the PlantX lifestyle, bring people in. We do not judge here. We want everybody to come in and be part of the movement. It all starts with education. So that's the reason why brick and mortar, and eventually those will be our distribution hubs as well. As you mentioned earlier on the show, we signed a deal with Live Marketplace, which they've guaranteed purchases of $25 million. For a company like PlantX that just had their website go live in April of 2020.
Unbelievable.
Pretty incredible. And then tomorrow, actually, we're coming out with a press release. The way that it works with reporting in Canada, you can report 60 days after your quarter. So when new companies come out, which we came out in August, you don't really have true color on the type of revenue we're doing yet. So we've decided tomorrow morning to come out with a press release to show our December numbers. That way they're out in the press, and then we could start speaking about them.
Now that's going to be, again, another inference, because that's great. Another inference that business must be going well, because you keep on doing these things that are very public facing, and the inference has to be that you guys are incredibly confident. So is it safe to assume that there's going to be further expansion in the U.S. market?
Absolutely. We have a path way forward. We're looking to use these models as franchises as well, which then, as that footprint grows across North America, we'll be able to offer same day delivery, and get to a point where we could expand so quickly. Canada
is where you started, obviously, right? Home turf, home field advantage. How have you seen the operations? And I'm not talking necessarily just from revenue point of view, but how's the response been from the Canadian market? Is it as expected, better than expected, worse than expected? What are you seeing out of the Canadian market that may tell you more about how consumers around the world are going to be slowly uptaking into this?
Yeah, so a bit of our advantage is due to having that distribution like store in San Diego. We use a special service with FedEx that brings those parcels into Canada and then distributes throughout Canada. What it allows us, there's a lot of products, and George, I know you're Canadian, and I don't know about you, but when I lived in Montreal, people would drive over to Plattsburgh to go ahead and find products that aren't available in Canada yet. And if you think about it, in the plant-based movement, these products are coming out so rapid, and we know, due to the trends that we see, which products are hot. And those are the ones that we've been bringing into Canada, and we see the sales accelerating on them. Things like Oatly. Oatly isn't available in Canada currently. They're not shipping to Canada. We go ahead, we bring pallets in, and then we go ahead and ship them across Canada.
Are you seeing a real shift? Look, I'm a traditional Greek meat and potatoes guy, and I've been exposed, and I know plant-based food is just part of the entire repertoire. But are you seeing a real shift towards, because I know I've tried a couple times and I'm loving it. And I want to make it a bigger part of my life. So are you seeing a real shift in habits outside of the traditional plant-based foods people and into the mainstream?
Yeah, everybody I'm speaking to, George, I was even working out this morning with a trainer, this whole new technology that he has. And he used to be an incredible jiu-jitsu fighter. And he said that he was born with the idea that he had to eat meat 3 times a day, to be able to get the protein. And then over the last couple of years, he's gradually started living a plant-based lifestyle. And he said that, he looks phenomenal. He works out more than ever, and he's in great shape. And he says that he might actually feel better and perform better now with all that plant-based eating, instead of having all that meat going into his body. So constantly hear stories, George, no matter where I am, no matter who I'm speaking to, whether it's an investor, whether somebody's 18 years old, 80 years old, they all want to, they're so curious about this space.
Yeah, and health is becoming more and more important in people's lives. We're seeing the trend away from traditional meat. I'm really excited about what you guys are doing, and you're going around the world, right? I mean, first you start off in Canada, then you announce the US, then you announce Europe with the acquisition of Bloombox. By the way, how is that? How is the Europe operation going
Going better than expected, George. You know, it's been a great start. My background is e-commerce, 20 years. When we were originally looking at the acquisition, Katie and her team over in the UK, they have one of the leading subscription plant companies in Europe. And when I looked at it, they were only converting at about 1%. My websites typically convert at 3 or 4. So being able to look at a business that's already successful and then bringing our team in to help it even more, that's what we're all about. And that's what keeps things going. And we've already seen some unbelievable growth.
Israel, you announced, first of all, you had a significant finance that came from Israel. You had an investment firm there, and Israel's largest pension fund manager that led your recent $11.5 million private placement. So what is about Israel? Is it just because you had good investors come from there, or what is about the Israeli market that is attracting you there?
You could see that the investor base there is so strong for plant-based living. Believe it or not, we've even heard like the acceleration and the amount of vegans per capita is just unbelievable in Tel Aviv. So the interest is there. And then Millie, who's our VP of operations, and Michael, who's VP of expansion, global expansion. Michael just happened to be moving there in a few months from now. Millie's been following the PlantX story. She had something else going on, and she kept writing me saying, oh my God, we need this in Israel. This is just incredible what you're building with your team, Sean. And, you know, we'd love the opportunity. Things started getting going. We announced that finance. Then all of a sudden the lead in that finance is one of the largest investment houses in Israel. And it just all came together.
Unbelievable.
So, yeah, we're sitting here on January the 13th, making some phenomenal progress on the rollout.
You know, when you see this kind of acceptance from around the world, the hunger for it, do you sometimes pinch yourself? Because I'm sure when you founded PlantX, no doubt about it, you had a definite plan in place. But are you amazed by how fast? Because I have a sense that it's probably accelerating faster than any of us really expected. I mean, I really had my own personal outlook, and I saw the future, but it seems to be accelerating faster than all of us expected. Were you seeing this, or is it even surprising you?
Listen, in December, when I started the whole concept and putting it together, and the first real website going live in April of 2020, definitely thought I was onto something real. Like my passion is in this. Before, I've had e-commerce websites, loved them. Last one went from 6 million to 1.2 billion. But was I a user? I never used the products that we sold, and look how quickly we were able to scale that company. This is something that I live and breathe. 10 years, it's been a journey. And George, while I was on that journey, I always felt judged. Somebody heard I was plant-based. They're like, oh, so that means you were vegan? I go, yeah, vegan, plant-based. They go, no, you know, you probably ate fish yesterday. And I always felt like I was being drilled. And when we put together PlantX, the idea was, how do we make a change in the world? And I know it sounds repetitive and the story's out there, but I said, if you go donate funds, you're only touching a limited amount of people, right? And if you go start a charity, typically you're touching a certain population. I wanted to create something that could actually change the world, give people a longer, healthier, better quality of life on our planet. And so far, I can't tell you how many emails we're already getting and how great that feels. And that's what keeps this acceleration going. And COVID, definitely absolutely horrible what it did, you know, on the mass scale in 2020, all the deaths that were caused and all of that. But one thing I think that it allowed people to really focus on is exactly what you said, health. How do I take better care of myself?
Yeah, because you can't order pizza. You can't sit there for the first 2, 3, 4 weeks. We're on, you know, living La Vida Loca, pizza, binging and all that. But suddenly people start realizing, hey, I better get healthy. And this isn't going to work if I'm going to be like this. So clearly you've benefited. The company's benefited from that and made the world a better place, right? You're not just an opportunistic company selling a widget. You're actually making people's lives better.
Yeah, no, 100%, George. And when I saw what was going on, and I've been a fan of Peloton for 3 years. I've had the bike at my place, picked up stock at $20. Today it's at $168, right? Like, just knowing that shift was coming and feeling it. And I feel same thing with the whole plant-based movement.
Yeah.
We went public at, I forget the exact valuation that we went at. Today we surpassed $200 million market cap at one point today. It's pretty remarkable about how quickly this space is truly growing.
Your main focus is to be an e-commerce platform, and a great example earlier. That doesn't mean you're not going to have real world, just the way Apple and Tesla does inside of malls and things like that. You got to have that in order to really get to the people who don't know the product and want to touch and feel. But the platform is where you guys are focusing on, and the key to the platform is to continue to add great partners. You guys announced a partnership with Else Nutrition, who's also an Agoracom client, and congratulations on that, with their fantastic toddler food. Tell them about their relationship, because they're also an Israeli-based fantastic company. So it's great to see you guys, partner up together. Tell me about that relationship.
Yeah, no, I thought it was like absolutely genius, the product they came up with, right? Like plant-based baby formula. It's like, it makes so much sense.
Yeah.
And it's great. They see our platform as something that could really educate people on, because when people first hear that, they're like, what do you mean? I thought dairy is the proper product to put into a baby's body, right? But we keep seeing that that's just not the case. And so with our platform, people are going to be able to educate and learn and understand why it's so important to buy their products. And we're looking forward to all the extra products that they're going to be bringing on and developing over the next year.
For people at home watching, there's two sides. There's the primary reason they're watching is as investors, potential investors. But let's also touch for a second on, talk to George and Mary and Bob, right, about why they should be going to the website, and what maybe you might recommend for the first timers, who want to dip their toe but are really starting to get excited about the company, want to evaluate its products and even make their life better. What would you suggest to the layman out there as their first steps into the plant-based life?
Yeah, so we've created these starter packs. You'll start seeing those launching out and rolling out here. Our meal delivery side, we've started putting together packages instead of just single meals. You'll see that starting to roll out next week. And the whole idea is to come, because I can't tell you, I've heard people before, I've went plant-based, but then they didn't realize there was dairy or milk powder and chips and all these funny things that you would never even think of add dairy to them. And then here we have an environment that you're finally ready to give it a try. That whatever you buy on our platform is 100% plant-based. So that's really the idea, to give people a safety feel when they come to our website.
Last question for you. We talked about Canada, then the US, then Europe, now Israel. Where do you see, look, you're an e-commerce platform, so naturally you can touch everybody, but that also comes down to distribution, right? It's not, you can't just have people ordering from different countries. You got to have distribution there. How many countries do you think the company can be in by the end of the year?
George, that's a tough question. With the global expansion that we have and the way that we ship things with FedEx, hopefully we keep expanding throughout the whole EU coming up. UK, EU makes a lot of sense. US, Canada, and then anywhere there's opportunities. I can't even begin to tell you all the places that have contacted us and the endless opportunities there are.
And that's what I wanted to ask you, and you've never told me that before. That's what I was leading to. The natural inference of me understanding business is you must be getting calls from all over the world from people who want PlantX in their country.
Yeah, no, it's unbelievable, George. Yeah, obviously nothing's disclosed, so we can't get too much into it. But
of course,
the interest in this plant-based world is truly remarkable.
Yeah, and if you've got a convert and someone like me who, just like your trainer this morning, grew up on eat meat and potatoes, and that's how you're going to grow, which is fine. God bless our parents, everybody. They didn't know better, and that's fine. But if you can have a convert like me that believes in plant-based foods, and the rest of it, then I've got to think that the future looks really bright for the company. And congratulations on the press release the other day about the Nasdaq application and what you did in December, because it seems like the company is almost unstoppable. I'll leave last word to you on what you want your shareholders to take away from all this.
Yeah, no, just keep following the story. We're having a ton of fun over here. Keep building out the platform, introducing new products. Really excited to share everything that we've got in the works. 2020 for PlantX was an extremely strong year in building out our platform. As you mentioned before, doing a $12.5 million raise, 2 acquisitions. And I could just tell you, we didn't slow down this holiday season. And I think 2021 is going to be absolutely incredible. And George, like we finish off all of our podcasts, and I'd love to say it to your viewers, stay curious, stay planted, stay healthy.
You've been watching, or you've been listening by podcast, to Sean Dollinger. He's the founder of PlantX Life, trades on the CSE under the stock symbol VEGA, VEGA. For our friends in the US, PLTXF, PlantXF. And for our friends in Europe on Frankfurt under WNT1. Look, we know that for a lot of you, the plant-based foods, the plant-based lifestyle is something that's new. You've heard about it, but you don't quite know about it. So 2 things. First, get to Agoracom, go to the profile section of PlantX Life and take a look at what we've laid out for you there, so you can really kind of, for pardon the pun, but digest all the company's information in a way that's understandable to you. And then from there, use the link to go right over to the PlantX Life website, do some more due diligence. And I got to tell you guys, the best due diligence you can do is order some products. Take a look at what they've got on there. They've got full meals, they've got snacks, even pet foods, right? All sorts of things on there that'll apply to just about everybody. And that's a great way to do your due diligence and at the same time support the company and have a better lifestyle, healthier, longer life. So thanks for joining us. Have a great day. See you next time.